This is the audio test for the CarCast idea concept using a shotgun mic that is mounted via a shock mount on a Windows suction mount thing. Hey guys, all right, so this video is essentially an audio test for a podcasting concept that I'm in the process of developing. So I shot the first video already.
What's that red on my shirt?
So the red is what's in focus.
Oh, okay.
Right, so essentially...
Like on my face, it's my shirt.
No, I mean, what it looks at, it'll highlight contrast textures.
Nice.
Right, so you got like gray and black.
Yeah.
And so it'll just highlight between that, like, or like in my case, it'll focus on like the beard or whatever.
Okay.
I realized I wasn't recording on this. Now I'm recording. Now the question is, am I exposed right? There was a few things that I wanted to change up specifically with relation to the audio. So right now, one of the things that you'll notice here is I've got myself a shotgun mic that I've used as a suction cup mount, dual suction cup mount. And this is the same suction cup mount that I've used in the past for whenever I'm doing my car vlogs. If the camera is mounted over here, I've just repurposed that over here. I have a pretty good feeling that this is going to work out just fine. I just need to test it out to see if everything is good. I've actually ordered a second suction cup, although this one specifically is from Delkin. That's the name of the company. I've ordered a second one from Small Rig. It's actually a little bit cheaper, surprisingly. The Delkin one was maybe $10 more. So I just went ahead with the Small Rig one. I'm just going to be actually mounting that right over here on the side of the window. And I'm going to be having a camera mounted, an Insta360 mounted on the hood of the car.
So I gotta know if any of that's going to.
Well, that's the 360, right? So it's going to capture literally everything. And these two cameras are cutting through the to the side profile, also like hitting the windows. So this here is the 20mm f2. f2.8 actually, 20mm f2.8 crop sensor lens on the FX30. Pancake. This is a great lens for video, vlogging, everyday carry kind of stuff. But as you can see, this so it's a 20 on a crop sensor, giving me about a 30mm field of view. Previously I was using a 24mm on full frame. The challenge was the camera that was mounted here, due to the sunlight, the camera overheated several times, which was a ZVE 1. And so what I'm going to be trying now is I'm actually renting for a different project several GH5S cameras, and I'm going to see if any of those do well or better on in heat management. Later I might even see if the FX30 does well in a car vlog type of scenario, but that'll be for a different episode. At another time. But this particular video that I'm working on is actually a 2-hour CarCast podcast, where we're going to be essentially the idea little baby in the back, the idea is to meet with interesting people who have done work or are doing work or have careers at the intersection of marketing, media, activism, and politics, storytelling, things like that. Which is what a lot of what this channel has been about. So, but anyway, the biggest thing with any kind of podcasting is essentially the audio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Insta360. I'm just going to go ahead and mount it right here on the magnetic mount as such. And we're going to go ahead and start driving. I'll probably put this camera somewhere. One of the reasons I like the idea of the CarCast, as just as a concept, hey, just as an idea or a concept to figure out and work with. One, just as a American culture and society, we tend to spend a lot of time in our vehicle, and I'm finding that I'm spending a lot more time in the vehicle than I have in the past. And a big part of that has to do with the fact that I live in Texas, and being in Texas, you got to drive everywhere. Public transport, having grown up in the East Coast, New York, New Jersey, DC, you don't really need a car. In fact, having a car is a detriment to your ability to get around if that is your only mode of transportation. And when I was in DC, I had a bicycle as my daily commuter. In fact, you'd get around the city significantly faster through the use of a bicycle or a combination of the train and the bike, and just simply being on foot. Whereas here in Texas, you can't go anywhere, especially here in Houston or Dallas, and as I've observed, Austin's a little bit different. Austin's a little bit more bike friendly. But here in Houston, you really can't get anywhere except that you have a decent, a reliable vehicle that would allow you to get around. Just you'll find places where you're walking and there's no sidewalks. So as a result, we're spending a lot more time in our vehicles, and being in a vehicle is also a situation where you'll find yourself, I guess, a little bit more at ease. I call it the elevation effect, but still on the ground. I guess it's the runway effect. When you're, for example, whenever you get on an airplane, at least for me, I don't know if it's for everybody, but I know for me, whenever I get on a flight, you have that stress of transit, right? From leaving, like making sure everything's packed, leaving, get to the airport, checking in, getting through security, get to your terminal, boarding the airplane, right? All of that is just puts your cortisol levels to a high, and even more so if you're running late. But the moment the boarding has been completed and the airplane is now making its way to the runway, about to take off, and then it takes off, right? And you can see out the window, and you get above the clouds. Suddenly, everything that was bothering you is now down there. So as a result, there is a feeling of relaxation, right? Between now and the final destination, you got nothing to worry about. Now, unless, of course, you shot yourself in the foot and enabled Wi-Fi on your phone and let all of those worldly things just come at you while you're in the cabin, 32,000 feet above the ground. That's a different story. But if that's not the case, then one of the things that allows you to do, just allows you to elevate yourself, allows you to release a lot of stress. Now, from that, all these different ideas and the ability to express, and this notion of holding yourself back emotionally and even spiritually, and and intellectually, just that, it, for me, some of my best ideas, my best journaling, all happened while flying. And I've also come to realize that there is a element of that effect prevalent when driving, especially when one gets on the highway. Because you're on the highway, you're cruising, right? Whatever is bothering you, whatever you got coming at you, if you're not in a meeting or whatever, it's somewhere, right? It's you don't have to worry about it right now, right? You can just put it to the side and deal with it whenever you get off the highway or whenever you get to your destination. What this lays down the foundation for is some meaningful conversations. You don't really know an individual unless you have either lived with them, you've worked with them, especially in the context of contracts, and you've traveled with them. In terms of what am I building off of, the examples that I have seen, because I haven't seen anything quite like what I have in mind. The closest, I guess, comparable would be something along the lines of comedians in cars getting coffee with Jerry Seinfeld. But even then, I guess the cool factor is him showing off his cars, I suppose, picking up famous people. So there's the element of prominence, and then you just kind of go to a coffee shop and just sit down and have a discussion. There's something to be said about the authenticity of being engaged in the activity together, in the sense of we're bringing transit in for real. And I got somebody with me, maybe more than one person, right? And there's a question of figuring out how we would showcase them all together, and then having a genuine conversation while we're in that transit together, because while we're in the space, there's nobody else, right? And so it brings about that sense of like vulnerability and being willing to converse and talk and discuss, and that allows for folks to get to know each other, especially within the immediate proximity of the vehicle. So that's something that I also feel like I've been missing a lot here. I moved to Richmond in this past November of 2024, And so for these last several months, it's like me being able to see people and talk to people on the regular is significantly reduced to when I was in A-Leaf. And A-Leaf is in poppin' spot of Houston actual. And so Southwest A-Leaf, Texas, aka SWAT, for anybody unfamiliar. For those who know, you know. But I'm out here in the country. Like, actually, let me pull out the Insta360 right now, just to kind of showcase what the country here looks like. So let me just go ahead and press record. Boom, like this is the country, right? This is the scenery that I gotta drive through. Now it's got a beauty to it for sure, especially if you're driving in this area in the morning, early morning, like right before or at sunrise. There's a mist that kind of covers the entire landscape. Like, it's super cinematic. And maybe one of these days I'll capture it. If I have captured it, I'll plug it in. Being out here in the country, the upside is like I get to see a lot of stars. Like, just even last night, I stepped out, I'm like, wow, there's Mars, there's Jupiter, there's Orion, there's like, this is like, I can see everything. I guess there's pros and cons to it all. Now, I know it's temporary, hopefully, and I can be back in society and connect with people on the regular. But in the meantime, this is an idea that I wanted to mess with and test. We're on the highway right now. This is Highway 90. And as you can see here, it's just a whole lot of nothing. You got a bunch of train tracks on the right. Again, continuing with the farmland on the left over there. And then you got some more farmland on the right. It just continues. This is the audio test for the CarCast idea concept using a shotgun mic that is mounted via a shock mount on a window suction mount thing. And if I can get a couple of these up, I've got a few shotgun mics. I just wanted to know how clear and good the audio is. One of the things I'm going to be testing out is, what I want to see is, how is the audio compared as is? How's the audio when it is enhanced? How's the cabin noise? And how is the audio when I kind of mix between the two of them? Because one of the challenges of audio sounding artificial is when you're in an environment and all of the environmental noise has been completely removed. And so that makes it sound artificial and sounds like ADR, which is additional dialogue replacement, which they do in movies and stuff. And especially with nowadays with the advent of like Adobe Podcast, which is an AI tool which helps clean up the audio and make it sound great. And so that's one of the challenges they can have here. But yeah, this is the example of what it would sound like, I guess, to the way that I like it. And this is, I think this is fun. This is, I think we can totally see, I can totally see myself. I'm assuming everything is good. And now that's the engine. I just wanted to see how it sounds with the engine revving. And but yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I'll see you soon.